Hola, welcome to Fun for Spanish Materials. Today's video is really important. It's going to be about indirect object pronouns. This sounds very, it doesn't say anything to you, but I'm going to explain you what it's about. Yeah, it's pretty much when you have these verbs in English like I give something to somebody, so I give it to her. So you have two things. You give it to her, yeah, or when you say i I say that to him, so you say that to him. So there are two objects here, yeah. You say something but to a person, so the thing you say is one thing and the person is a second thing. Or when you give a present to a friend, what you give is the present, but the friend is a person that is receiving the present. So it's like you give something to somebody, you tell something to somebody, or you send something to somebody. So there are some verbs that involve two elements. Most of the times, I would say 95% of the cases, is a thing and a person. The person is like the one who is favored about this action. So the person is receiving or is being given or is being told something, right? But there is always like something and to somebody or for somebody. And this is when we talk about this somebody, that is like favor, we are talking about this person. This is the indirect object pronoun. This is the indirect object, so anyways, just to come like to see everything from the very beginning, let's just remember the direct object. Remember we talked about the direct object. We said that direct object is that object that is affected directly by the verb here, right? So, and then we were making examples, doing examples like, um, let's say, él lee el libro, like he reads the book. What is being read? What is read? The book is read, right? So, because the book is read, that means that it's affected by the verb to read, because this is what is read, the book. Therefore, this is the direct object, right? So, just to remember that, I love her. Uh, what is loved? The woman, yeah, she's loved. Like, I love her. So, she is affected by the verb to love directly because she's the one that's loved. Yeah. And there were more examples about this, and I bought it. What was bought? The thing. Yeah, that thing, the TV. Let's say I bought a TV. I bought it. So the TV, what was bought? The TV. So the TV is the direct object, right? And so on, because it's directly affected by the verb to buy. That what was bought. So yeah, the book is directly affected by the verb to read. You see? So the book is the direct object. Good. That's it. Yeah, and then remember that we were talking about some um, pronouns, and we said yo lo compré, yo la compré, or yo te amo. Yeah, remember these pronouns like me, te, la, lo. I highly recommend you to go over this topic again, which is called direct object pronouns, DO. Go for it, watch it again, and then just to refresh all this knowledge. So good. Now let's talk about the indirect ones. So the indirect is this person. Remember, I was talking about like that is like kind of favored by this action. So you have, for example, let's have a look at this example here. Él le da el libro. Yeah. So we're gonna come to this le soon. Don't worry. So he gives the book to Maria. So he gives Maria the book. So in this example, it's clear to see the direct object because he gives the book to Maria. So what is given? The book. The book is given. Therefore, this is the direct object, right? Yeah, because it's directly affected by the verb to give. He gives the book, right? He gives the book. Easy. A Maria. Oh, okay. So this is going to be the indirect because it's not affected by the verb to give, right? What is given? Maria is not given. It's the book what is given. But to whom? Ah, to Maria. Okay. So that's going to be the indirect object because it's indirectly affected by the action, which is the verb to give, right? It's not what is given, but it's like the favored by the action. Yeah, it's just indirectly affected, and that's why it's called indirect. This exists also in English. Simple. I give it to her. Yeah. What did you give it? The thing. To whom? To her. So her is gonna be the indirect object. It's easy. It's not very difficult. If you do this analogy with English, you're gonna understand it right away. Yeah, I give it to her. I say it to him. Uh, like I pass it to them. So same example, right? Good. So yeah, the doer, is the person who's doing the action. That's not a problem. And that's it. So Maria is being favored. Yeah, she's the indirect object, and the book is being given to her. Therefore, is the direct object, right? So now you know what is the indirect object, and it's mostly the people or persons that are favored by this action, right? Kind of receivers, right? That's it. Now let's talk about this weird le that we have here. You might be thinking, what is this? No worries. Now we're going to talk about this. This le actually is like the her or the him. Like I give him a book or I give her a book. Um, and in Spanish, we are redundant with this. We say, I give her the book to Maria. I give her the book to Maria. Or I give him the book to Antonio. It's redundant. So this le pretty much means her or him, which is the indirect object pronoun. Yeah. So I gave her the book or I gave it to her. So this is the her or the him. Yeah. And this le is for the third person. Yeah. But we also have pronouns for me. He, she gave me a book. Ella me dio un libro. She gave you a book. Ella te dio un libro. So this could be me, this could be te if it's you, me if it's me, le if it's her, him, yeah. Us, she gave us a book. Ella nos dio un libro. So this is the indirect object pronoun. This can change according to the person you are giving that to. So in this case, we are talking about a third person. Therefore, it's going to be le. Yeah. So what we do in Spanish is that we put this le right before the verb. Yeah. Él le da el libro. It's like him gives the book. I know the semantics, the order is weird, but that's how we say it. Yeah. Uh, and then we have to specify afterwards the person that the thing is given to or the favorite, right? So él le da el libro. ¿A quién? A María. To whom? To María. Yeah. So there are many verbs that work, with this kind of structure. The verb to give, because you give something to somebody. The verb to tell or to say, you say something to somebody. To send, you send something to somebody. And there are more of these verbs with this kind of structure where you have two objects, two entities, two parties, two things, two objects. One is the thing that is given, is told, is sent, is said, and the other is like the person that is receiving that, and that person is going to be the indirect object. And yeah, it's like the favored. Yeah, it's a favored person by this action indirectly. So that's it. So that's the indirect object. And this is the indirect object pronoun, this one here. Yeah, we always use it when we have these kind of verbs, when we have these situations. We don't say he gives Maria a book. No, we say in Spanish, we say he gives her, Maria, a book. We always have to put this her or him. Yeah, that's the new thing here. That's why it's redundant, because we say he gives her a book to Maria. Yeah, so that's why it's redundant, and this is something you have to understand and acknowledge. We always have to use the indirect object pronoun when we have an indirect object. Yeah, so that's it. It goes always when there is an indirect object. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So you always have to use this in these cases when you have these verbs, when you have two things, two objects. Yeah. So let's have a look now at some like uh, like pronouns first. So these are the pronouns here. These ones here are the indirect pronouns. So for yo is me, for tú is te, for él, ella o usted also is le, for nosotros is nos, vosotros is os, and ellos, ellas, ustedes is les. So these ones here are the pronouns, yeah? They are very similar to the direct ones. The only difference is that here, instead of having la and lo, we have le, yeah? And here, instead of having las, los, we have les. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. And as we said before, like the indirect object pronoun always have to be there in this verb, in this, when you use this kind of verbs. You always have to put the indirect object pronoun here. You cannot omit it. You cannot say yo doy María un libro. Wrong. Yeah. Yo le doy un libro a María. Yeah. I give her a book to María. That's how we say it in Spanish. And yeah, it's just the way it is. So, um, and all this, if you wanna wonder like why we do this here, is because le could be him or her. I give her a book. Yeah, but it could also be I give him a book. That's why we have to like specify who you're talking about, because le could work as him or her. That's why we have to specify here to make it clear. In English, it's easier to like to recognize if it's a girl or a boy, right? Because it's if it's a feminine or masculine, because you say yo, I give her or I give him. Yeah, in Spanish you cannot say that. It's always the same le. So le can be anything that is a third person, right? That's why it's important to specify here. So we put names, yeah. um, so this le doesn't have gender actually here. This le is general for any third person. So you just put the name afterwards here to specify the person you're giving that to. Yeah. So yeah, these are the pronouns here. These are the indirect pronouns. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So you have to use them always when you have these kind of verbs. Yeah, when you have these verbs like to give, to say, to to send, right, to borrow also. Yeah. So yeah, that's how you use these indirect object pronouns. Let's have a look now how to like some examples. Let's see some real examples so you can materialize this concept. um, so when did you use the indirect object pronoun? So as we said before, normally is when you have two objects. Yeah, you have like a thing and a person. Yeah, like it's like a thing and somebody. So for example, when you do things for somebody, yeah, or when you do things to somebody, this is like 95% of the times, like there is a somebody and a thing. And there is like a tiny part also of situations when you do things to a part of something, like a possessive. But this case here is yeah, it's not as popular as the two ones we have here first. Yeah. But anyways, let's have a look at these examples, and then yeah. and then we materialize this concept. So I buy a car for my husband. So you're you buying a car, right? So you have a car. What is being bought? What is bought? The car. But who's the person receiving this? The favor one, the husband here, right? So you have the two objects. The direct one is the car, because that's what is bought, and the husband is the one who's getting the car. Awesome. So he's the indirect one. Yeah, is indirect. Yeah, because it's not directly affected by the verb to buy. What is bought is actually the car. So this one is the direct one, and this is the indirect one. The person in Spanish to say that is yo le compro un carro o un auto o un coche a mi esposo. ¿A quién? A mi esposo. ¿Ya? Yo le compro un carro a mi esposo. ¿Ya? I buy him a car to my husband. That's pretty much it. Yeah. And another one here. So this le represents the him. I buy him. Like, yeah. I the him, the le is like the him. Yeah. Yo le compro un carro a mi esposo. And as you can see, this le is going before the verb, right? You don't say yo compro le. That will be, you might think, oh, I buy him, yo compro le. But no, you can't do that, because remember, when you have just one verb, all the pronouns have to go before the verb. Remember that rule that we talked about? Check about the, you can check this in Survive also, and Converse. I think we also talked about this, like the position of the pronouns, where the pronouns go. So if you have just one verb, the pronouns always go before. Yo le compro un carro a mi esposo. um let's do this example now. I want to open the door for my wife. So you are doing something for somebody, right? So here is the other way around. So it's the husband who wants to open the door for his wife. Yeah. So let's have a look at this one. Yo le quiero abrir la puerta. ¿A quién? A mi esposa. Awesome. A mi esposa. So yo le quiero abrir la puerta a mi esposa. Yeah. It's like I want to open her the door to my wife. So again, the letter represents here like the her. I open the door for her. Yeah. To my for my wife. Yeah. So as you see again, we have to use this le. Yeah. Is the her. And but we have a peculiar thing here happening, is that we are using two verbs this time. We are using the verb I want to open. So we have two verbs in a row. Remember, when we have two verbs in a row, the pronouns can be either at the beginning, before the two verbs. Yeah, we have quiero abrir, two verbs in a row. It can either be here before the two verbs, or it could also go after the two verbs. Yeah. So the second example is also valid. Yo quiero abrirle la puerta a mi esposa. I want to open her the door, like for my wife. So you can say yo le quiero abrir, yo quiero abrirle. Because you have two verbs in a row, this le can either go before or after. Yeah, both situations are correct. Yeah, so yeah, you can stick to one or just play with both as you like. If you like using different options, you can use both. Yeah. Again, yo quiero abrirle la puerta a mi esposa. Yeah. ¿A quién? A mi esposa. Yeah. Good. When you do things to somebody, I send a letter to Pedro. So I send something to him, right? So what is sent? The letter is sent. But who is the favor here? Pedro is the person who is favor about this action. So what is sent? The letter. This is the direct object, because this is what is sent. And Pedro is the person that is the favored one. So let's say this in Spanish. Yo le envío una carta ¿a quién? A Pedro. Why do we use le? Because Pedro is a third person, right? Yeah, this actually a guy. Yeah, Pedro is like Peter. So, yeah, yo le envío una carta a Pedro. It's like I send him a letter to Pedro. Yeah. Uh, Another example, I didn't say that to my friend. What is said? That. This is the direct object because this is what is said. That. I don't know what it is, but that is what was said. That. And who was the favorite person here? My friend. My friend is the favorite one. Therefore, this is going to be the indirect object here. My friend. And my friend is obviously a third person. It can be a girl, it can be a boy, it can be anything. So we are going to use the le. Yeah. So yo no le dije eso a mi amigo. Here I'm using past tense of the verb to say, decir. Yo dije, yeah, yo digo is present, yo dije is past tense. So yo dije, tú dijiste, él dijo, right? So yo no le dije eso. I didn't say that to him or to her, a mi amigo. So that's how we say in Spanish. Good. So these are the most common situations, like cases, is when you have something for somebody or something to somebody. And but sometimes you also use these indirect object pronouns when you're talking about like a thing like that is a part of something like possessives. We use it for, like, for example, for uh, anything. A car has doors, yeah, or a person has legs, so it's the person's leg, or it's the car's door, right? So it's like the possession, yeah. So it belongs to that thing or to that person. So I healed the patient's leg. I healed the leg of the patient. So here we have like a possessive, yeah. The leg belongs to this patient. So I healed the patient's leg. It's like yo le curo la pierna a quién? Al paciente. In this case, the question is a quién, yeah, because we're talking about a leg, so it has to be like a person. Um, well, it could be an animal too, but yeah, in Spanish, pierna is just for humans, not for animals and things. Is patas. Anyways, yo le curo. Why le? Why do we use le here? Because you're healing the leg of the patient. Yeah. So, and le is because the patient is a third person. The patient is a third person. That's why we are using le here. Yo le curo la pierna al paciente. Like, I cure him his leg to the patient. That's kind of how we say it. Yeah. So when we have these possessives, this situation that's we are healing something that belongs to something else, or we are doing something to that belongs to something else, we use this le as well, or this in not just necessarily the le, the indirect object pronoun. Yeah. In this case, it was a person, but here we are talking about a car. So the car's door. So the door belongs to the car, right? So the car is clearly a third person too. It's an it, right? So we're gonna use a le. If I fix the car's door, yo le arreglo la puerta a qué? Al coche, al carro, right? Why a qué? Because it's not a quién, it's a qué, it's a thing, it's a car, right? So yo le arreglo la puerta al coche. Yeah. Um, so we have just one verb. Therefore, the le has to go before the verb, right? Yo le curo, yo le arreglo. We don't have two verbs in a row here, right? So the le has to go before the verbs here, curo, arreglo. And that's it. These possessives happen not as often, but still, like, we use it a lot, when this happens. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much the indirect objects pronouns. And it was good that we talked about the direct object pronouns and the difference between the direct object and the indirect object. So now you understand the difference, and now you understand that we have to use the all the pronouns. It Here we use just le, but it could have also been me, te. Yeah, let's say here I didn't say that to you instead of my friend to you, so that would be a second person. So I will use instead of instead of le, I would have used te. Yo no te dije eso. That's it, right? Yo no te dije eso. It's like because instead of because you here will be a second person, so here will be yo no te dije eso. I would have used te instead of le because it's to you. Yeah, or she sent me a letter. She sent me a letter. That will be ella me envió una carta. So instead of yo le, it will be ella me, she me, like ella me envió una carta. Sends me a letter, right? She sends me a letter. So this le is just for the sake of putting third persons, because it's like it's new, right? Because the mete we already knew, but the le is kind of new, so that's why we only have examples with le. That will be it. I hope you like this video lesson. How to practice this is the most important thing. Rewatch this video. It was extremely important, this concept. Do your flashcards, do your notes and writing. Actually, highly recommended to the writing this time because this is a new concept that you have to practice quite a lot to materialize and nail. And in real life situations, it's simple what we're gonna do. Just let's use for now two verbs: verb to give and verb to say, or to tell. Yeah, decir, right? So just tell somebody the presents you gave for Christmas or for birthdays, and to whom, and also specify the person you gave these presents to. Also, talk about what you told other people in previous conversations. Like, yes, I talked to Maria and I told her that she's beautiful. I also told her that I'm busy on Wednesday. And she told me that she was going to be busy on Thursday. And yeah, and then she told me that she's kind of happy about something. So this told me, she told me, I told her, right? Or she told my friend something. So try to use this verb to say decir. Yo le dije, ella me dijo, right? Ella le dijo a mis amigos, a mi amigo, sorry, ella le dijo a mi amigo algo, o ella les dijo a mis amigos algunas cosas. So just try to play with the verb to say and also with the verb to give. You do it in past tense, present tense, but mostly past tense. Let's talk about things that already happened. So that way you are practicing this verse in past tense because we use a lot past tense more than present tense. That will be it. Have a lot of fun. This was a massive video. I'm sorry, but it was a very important concept, so I had to explain everything pretty well. Muchas gracias. Nos vemos en el próximo video. Hasta luego. Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Hasta luego.